Cartoon State on the go, real time.
Run away with me, I know a galaxy and I can take you for a ride.
Simply download Flow FM mobile app on Google Play Store and stay plugged for an interesting radio experience. Call our 24 hours customer service desk on 0812-181-0123, 0812-181-0123 for eyewitness report, marketing, and other inquiries. Flow 94.9 FM, redefining radio experience.
I, Muhammad Buhari, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful.
After the elections comes real governance, the task of delivering on the social contract with the people. It's a mixed grill for the victors. Managing the success comes with baggages.
In a state like my state, for instance, when they say I can't make fourth term, the same for Ruga settlement was supporting a senator to be fourth term, was supporting.
And the losers. Another 4 years on the sideline could be unbelievable. However, the constant factor is the people. The platform on Flow 94.9 FM serves you top discussion and exclusive interviews from the news on politics, economy, social issues, business, and many more. The platform. Exclusive on Flow 94.9 FM. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 a.m. The platform. The pinnacle of all discussions.
Yes, indeed, it is still the Wednesday morning broadcast of our programming right here on Flow 94.9 FM. This is the Flow of Cartoon State, an extended version of the platform. Today we started at 9 a.m. Of course, this is the second lap of the program, and of course the final lap, if I can put it that way. Welcome to the platform again, the pinnacle of all discussions. We take a look at those critical issues, we dissect them so that you can make better decisions in the nearest future. Welcome on board. My name is Michael Oni. Now, when you mention Abia to outsiders, the picture painted in majority of the respondents is that of high volume of trading that takes place in the state, especially Aba, the commercial hub of the state. And this is evident in the high number of SMEs, the small and medium scale enterprises in the state. While Abuja, as you know, is Nigeria's political capital, Lagos is the economic capital, Abia is undoubtedly the SME capital. In fact, Abia is known for Aba made goods, of course, the SME manufacturing in Abia, which has not died off. Instead, have been resilient and have survived even with or without government support. So small and medium scale enterprises are the result of continuous human innovation and creativity, which serves as the running engine through which the economy survives. As you know, they contribute immensely to the development of entrepreneurial skills amongst the population, employment generation, poverty alleviation, structural transformation of rural areas, industrial spread, amongst others. And therefore, there is a need for these to be promoted, and protected very well. Because, as you know, according to statistics, as we got from the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, 41.5 million registered SMEs in the country. That's comprising of 41.4 million micro enterprises and 73,081 SMEs. And together they are responsible for the 59.6 million jobs that we have in Nigeria, which represent 83.3% national workforce. But why am I reading out all these statistics? This morning we're looking at the growing SMEs in Nigeria, using Abia as a case study. Joining me is Macaulay Chidima Atasie. He's popularly known as Mac Atasie. He's the CEO of NetZone, an emerging market management consulting and enterprise development company that has consulted for several companies in Nigeria, which have witnessed a turnaround in their IGRs. And this day, newspaper describes him as the unseen hand in the Abba leather manufacturing cluster push. You've got a very rich profile. Let's begin the conversation already. Looking at your transition from microbiology to management consultancy, and maybe you should help us with more about yourself, your background, especially relating to Nigeria and the Abia SME sector. So welcome on board, Mr. Mark Atasie. It's your first time in FLO FM.
My second time in FLO.
Oh, your second time. All right. Glad to have you join us. Welcome on board. So let's begin. Let's know more of you. I'm sure our listener will like to know. I'm sure our listener would like to know you, definitely, and also to have your background as relating to the subject discussion this morning on the platform.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes,
and thank you, listeners, for tuning in. My name is Mark Chidima Atasie, Macaulay Atasie.
Okay.
I have lived my adult life in Lagos largely, except for the past 8 years when I have lived, I think 90% between Oka and Umuahia.
Okay.
So I think that characterizes my where I have lived. I have a master's in pharmacy and a first degree in microbiology, pharmaceutics, which is a part of pharmacy. And both of them are from the University of Nigeria and Nsukka. I think the other point is that I have worked not in microbiology, not in the pharmacy world. I think I spent just 3 months in Nigerian breweries, and then I joined problem solving.
Okay.
So I joined management consultancy, where your mandate, your mission is to assist people understand a scenario, particularly in my area, which is strategy consulting. Strategy is about tomorrow. It's not about yesterday. So essentially, what I do is to see tomorrow. Devise means of saying this is where tomorrow will likely be. This is the kind of products that people will like to consume. This is the kind of young people that will work in organizations. This is the kind of technology that people would like to use. These are the kind of companies and regulatory pronouncements that regulators will make and companies will respond to. So I essentially see tomorrow, which means that I must have the skills, since I am not God, to say these are the things that will likely happen. And in the process of saying that, we now say, so what would a company do? What would a state do? What should a country do? Because at the end of the day, the strategy that will make a state or a country or a family or a business wealthy will be one that will lead to that company, state, country identifying what people would like to buy and being able to produce those that people would like to buy. So I am a strategist. I love to strategize. I love to understand what will likely happen tomorrow and create it, because it doesn't exist. If it existed, then it is not tomorrow. We've already seen it. Even if it meant that it existed and it's going to be consumed in a certain different manner, I have to imagine what that different manner will be. So I guess as we go on, by way of introduction, by the way, I have been in the forefront of e-payments in Nigeria. I think that's fine as an introductory thing. Yes. I have been at the, for instance, the National ID program, the design, the full conceptualization, design, and then build out. I was very, very involved in from the beginning in 2005, when we went to the president, then President Obasanjo, and exposed this concept to him, the multi-application card, where with one card you can cover literally 5 to 6 different types of functions: your identity, your driver's license, your health cover, and so on and so forth. All of them in one card. Today, because of mobile, I think it has now moved to your cell phone, right? So it's one number, that's the mean. So I think that's very good in terms of identification. The card you carry around, the ATM card, I also worked with a man called Mitchell and his bosses to think about it, to design it, to build it out, and to launch it and to promote it until it became what every bank, the first money collected from First Bank for the promotion and build out of InterSwitch was collected by me from the then MD of First Bank called Bernard Longe. So that's the second one. You talk about strategy, create. That's very important. If you really want to do business, ease of doing business, and you can identify who owns what and all that. So we designed, myself and my team, and built, but I was the head of the team. So we built that. The first education portal that I know of was built in Uniben, and it was designed by me, again out of imagination, saying to the then owners of Standard Trust Bank that you need to come up with other ways of selling your banking products beyond the traditional means of selling people around. And I said to them, step into the life of the customer, take over some of the things that he does, and he will stick with you. And so what did he take over? How do you collect money from students and parents who want to go to school from anywhere they are in Nigeria? So that's where you have, every school now has an education portal, and that came from the process of imagining tomorrow and designing tomorrow. I've also commenced that process in the governance world. So in Anambra, we started the process of saying the governor-elect or governor-to-be, what do you think the tomorrow of Anambra will be? And he sat down, educated us on what he thought. Working with him, we devised a formula called economic pillars, economic enablers, and outcomes. In other words, tell us what you want to achieve in the state. Tell us the economic areas that you want to drive your people, encourage your people to spend their monies, their time, and so on and so forth on. And finally, what do you have to do? The normal thing is that governments will say, I want to build roads, right? But where would the roads go to? The roads have to primarily go to where money is made, because good road helps you to have ease of making money, productivity. You talk about safety. Where do you want the most safety to be? It should be everywhere, by the way, because where the roads, where the economic engines are, human beings also live there. So we devised a means to say Anambra had to be the best in 4 areas. That's why Anambra is an oil producing state.
So you've worked closely with Anambra State government and also Abia State government. From your profile that I went through just before this program, a very rich profile. Well, let's bring the conversation back home to Abia State, looking at the SME and using Abia as a case study. Nigeria, as we know, there are outstanding issues of more inclusive participation when it comes to SME, and unfortunately the reality on ground from available statistics, we've performed below expectation due to a combination of problems which we all know, including oft mentioned infrastructural deficit and frequent public outcry changes. What are the basics for a successful SME in a state or a nation like Nigeria? Any reference or lessons from other nations, if you have them, maybe you should highlight them for us.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, so what makes anything to succeed is actually a few things, and I'll mention a simple formula. I like to reduce things to formulae.
Okay. Because
that way you will try and apply it the way you want. So in addition to the formula is your environment, what they call macro environment. Okay, the Abia environment. What are the things in Abia that will make it easy for a business to do well? And the final one, so there are 2, the formula and your environment, right?
The formula and the environment.
And this environment actually is at many levels. There's the external environment, the world environment, because you can't give me something worse than someone from Anambra and I'll buy from you, or someone from I'll buy from you. Makes no sense, isn't it? So what are other people doing around? What am I exposed to in other places? And so on. So that's the environment. But the formula is a dream. That's your vision, right? Your vision and your action. But remember that your vision must have a strategy to translate, which you then act on to give the results, isn't it? Your vision says, I want to be the state I'm now thinking at the state level, with the largest number of shoes on people's legs around the world. That's a dream, isn't it? Or I want to be a state with the largest number of shoes in Abia people. That's a dream. So the audacity of your dream will help make you realize. You know, in Igbo language, I think, or in Nigeria, say, onye giria wori kwa kisi uregu. Aboria wagi lechanya megre. So when you are dreaming, dream big. You know. So in 2007 in Aba, we put 6 foundations at Omokaleka for shoe and garment industry. And when the then deputy governor was finished making his speech, I had to make a speech. And deputy governor was in 2007. Who was deputy governor? Akomas. Okay. My statement was that Abia should try to control nothing less than 2% of the world legs when it comes to shoes. Then there were 6 billion people in the world. 10% is 600 million, isn't it?
Exactly.
And then 2% will be 60 million. That's not a lot.
That can come from Abia.
That's not a lot.
Within which period of
okay.
within
that's I think I said 10%. It's been a while I made
okay.
So
That's
it cannot be 2%
formula.
because 2% is very small. You know, and it was 10%, which would have given us 600 million pairs. But remember something else. Each person in Africa wears 1.5 pairs. Each person in the developed world wears about 5 pairs a year. So I did an average of 3 pairs of shoes. So it's actually not 200 million. It will be about 600 million. 6 billion times 3 would have given me 18 billion pairs, right?
Yes.
If we took 10%, that is 1.8 billion. If we took 5%, that is 900 million. So about 1 billion pairs of shoes. That's what I was proposing, that Abba should find a way to sell to the world. So you ask me, why would anybody buy our shoes, isn't it? Why is it, how would Abia products
and that's the vision then? That's the dream.
That was the dream.
Okay, that was the dream, yeah.
That was the dream. But for people to buy our shoes, it means that our shoes must be good quality and must be affordable. Must be cheaper than other comparable quality shoes around the world. It's very simple. Because the only difference now is that you're importing the shoes from China or from Turkey or from somewhere else. So we must find a way. And that was the essence of the 6 foundations we put. We wanted to put 6,000 manufacturing rooms in Omokaleka with a common facility center. And I will tell you how that has helped other nations and will help our nation to do well in the shoes. And I'm using shoes as an example because it's applicable to everything else. Okay. So my simple formula are 2 V's. One facing up, one facing down. You find the common ground between them. The first V is coming down this way. It says bring down the cost of production, right? The second one is going up. It says raise the value of what you produce. Don't over-raise, because if you over-raise, nobody will fund it and nobody can pay you for it. So that's the second point. The first is a big dream. The second is a formula that helps you to give good quality at a lower cost. The third will be the strategies to do that. So a big strategy that any company, see, I'm not coming here to talk about how to keep doing what we do, because you know they say one way to look crazy is to keep doing one thing and expect a different result, right?
That is thing.
We are great people in imagination in Aba, in production in Aba, and so on, but we haven't scaled up. Everybody is doing KK and Sons, you know, and all of that. We haven't scaled up.
Well, what exactly do you mean by scaling up?
Okay, scaling up means that if you're able to produce 10 pairs of shoes,
okay,
it means you, the owner, will sell 10 pairs and divide the income of 10 pairs between you and your workers, right? So your cost will be higher. The generator cost, the security cost, the cleaning cost, it will be higher. If you're able to join others and produce 1 million pairs in that same 1 hour, the unit cost will be lower, right? That's scale. You've scaled up. And so your unit cost is lower. Once your unit cost is lower, you can sell more because you're now more affordable and you can be richer. That's what it is. Okay, so you need to think at scale. You need to find a way where one particular geographic area, as you have in our area, all they do is shoes everywhere. However, in our area we do shoes, but everybody doing his own. Once again, 2007-2008, I set up what is called Universal Leather in Aba. Universal Leather was the first, as far as we know, mechanized shoe platform in Aba. There was the Unido one beside Nigerian breweries, but that was too far for the ship. So we went into Aba area and built one. I think there are many more today, but that was mechanized, isn't it? Mechanized means instead of using scissors,
the industrial method of production.
Yes, but not automated, as in you have in NASCO now, right? So you use machine, something like this. You just put many leather pieces there and take it up and bring it down. It will cut 1,000 pairs for 1,000 pairs at the same time, versus the man that is going a little at a time. So that was, but I was too far away. I was in Lagos. I had a factory here, so control was near impossible. So I'm using myself as an example, right? So that business is vibrant today. People have built many more of such. So if you want to do well, you need to find something that will add value to the customer. So in this instance, my customer was the shoemaker. I wasn't the shoemaker, but I was the one that will help the shoemaker use mechanized approach to cut his sole, cut the leather, move faster, move with exactitude, so that when he cuts, there is a standard, not the mistakes that will come when you're using, scissors to make the cutting. So essentially, you therefore must have a dream. In my opinion, you can only dream what you see. When you are in bed, isn't it? You dream for yourself. I can't dream for you. But I can tell you what I'm telling you now and hope that when you're looking at the glass, it's half full, not half empty. You know that when you put water in the middle of glass, two people looking at it will have different perspectives. One can say, nah, this glass is nearly empty. And the other one says, just a little more effort, I'm going to succeed in filling up the glass. It's nearly full. Same facts, different perspectives, different conclusions.
But you've mentioned from the angle of the manufacturer now, from the angle of those that are investing in Aba, and of course some of the SMEs, how we can have a successful SME sector. But what about the area of government? Are there things that are to be done that we've not done? I know you've advised Abia State government in different fora just to ensure that we have a booming economy in Abia State, especially looking at how viable we can make Aba be. So what are those, in spite of the various challenges, how can we have a striving SME? How can the SME sector thrive in Abia State? From the angle of the government now, you've explained so much from the angle of the manufacturer having to scale up and also maybe coming together to partner and of course reducing the cost. At the end of the day, you increase the value of what you've given out.
Okay, thank you, Michael. The first is, there's a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I will recommend that for everybody, but especially our businessmen. There are behaviors that make you succeed. It is very easy to blame government for where we are. But in this same country, where there was no light, no roads, no security, several companies came from outside Nigeria and made billions in Nigeria. Right? Billions in Nigeria. There must be something that they are doing that we don't understand. It is 7 habits of highly effective. I'll take one of the habits. Focus on your areas of competence, areas of influence, and less on areas of concern. I'm going to discuss the government concern.
Okay.
I'm going to discuss it, but I think our people should be positive in whatever they have set their minds to do. You will find ways in the difficult environment to thrive and be productive. Because at the end of the day, it's about productivity. It is what you produce with your hand, with your head, and somebody else pays for. That makes you a successful businessman. So, I would like to leave that with us. Focus more on the things that you can control and not what the next man can control. The next man here is government. Having said that, I worked very closely with Dr. Okezi Bazo in 2014 when he was just being nominated. I think he said to some of my elder brothers, Dalozo, Simon Ukwe, Chima Irondi, he said to them, the political part, I'm a politician, I can handle that with other politicians in Abia. But the economic and strategy part, I need someone. He didn't know me, I didn't know him. And they picked up their phone and called me. And I said, I can't say no to you. They said, there is somebody who is going to contest. You are going to work with him to put together his manifesto and his economy. So in that manifesto, there is a lot that talks about SMEs. And there's a lot that he's been working on, trying to get done. So I'll give some examples. He has a plan to have an agro-processing center in Umuahia. Right? Remember I said scale. So in that concept of scale is the government to create a location and attract people that will provide the facilities for scale to happen. Right? The individuals can do it, private business can do it, but they don't have the necessary resources to pull that together. So he has a plan that there should be an agro-processing center in Umuahia. Agro-processing means everybody around, you can go and do your farming, but please bring the produce here. We use mechanized means and process it, so it comes out like anything else you see in any other part of the world. He also has a similar thing for the shoe factory, the garment. I'm talking about his blueprint, right? These are in his blueprint. If you listen to his inaugural speech once again, you will hear him say repeatedly things about agro-processing, things about the shoe industry, things about the garment industry. All of these are in that blueprint. Now, are we making progress? We have the SME bank in Abia, isn't it? There's a bank that is focused on the SME sector, because a key part of delivering is getting access to finance. So he has provided access to finance. A lot of the finance and things that can happen from Abuja and Co can pass through our microfinance bank. That's number one. The second point is that we have an SME ministry. I'm not sure any state has an SME ministry. That tells you there's a focus on trying to support SMEs in Abia. Now, the success of any nation is the interaction of the government and the people. So the ministry has started inviting SMEs, come and register for training. SMEDAN is Small and Medium Enterprise Department or Development Agency of Nigeria. That's SMEDAN. That's the national body. Okay. The relationship between us and them will enable our people to learn how to do it, because knowledge is power. So it's not that I want to grow SMEs. How do you grow SMEs? SMEDAN has the money to build capacity of our people, and Abia has moved in there. Some people have registered, some have attended some trainings. I would hope that many more would attend to build that competence that will allow them to do well. That's the second one. The idea of the ENASCO platform is to do the other thing I said, which is also in his blueprint. It says create scale, right? ENASCO is not meant to be producing shoes and selling. It's meant to be an infrastructure where all the shoemakers can come and use automated infrastructure to produce their shoes, so they can produce what is sellable internationally for the middle class. When you make shoes and sell to the lower class, what you essentially we get as your money will be lower than if you sell to the middle class or across Africa or sell internationally. So that is the second one. Through his vision, his blueprint, his strategies, his action, we now have a common facility center that we can bring a lot of shoemakers into. What we have now is one line. We can do 2 lines, we can do 3 lines. Across the road is that Omokalika location, 19 hectares. It's large enough to give us the scale we want to dominate the shoe industry in Africa, and I think we can. So again, government is doing something in that area. Remember that you can't say let there be light, and there was light. But in Omokalika we can measure that there's light 100%, right? So the process of creating reduced cost, improved quality is being promoted by our government. Same thing is going to happen in the area of garment. Again, there's an arrangement to put a similar thing as a NASCO, so that the garment workers will also have a large-scale place they can come and make garments and sell to the world at the right quality and price. So government is doing practical things, recognizing that we can't have light everywhere in Nigeria at the same time. So that is called clustering. We are clustering our effort to make sure we promote excellence in the shoe area. So there are several of such other things you find in the books. And Abuja has a lot of money, you know, for the entertainment industry, for the creative industry, for the cassava industry, for the export sector, and so on. And our SME desk, SME ministry, is glued into central bank to see how to bring such monies back home. We have partnership with Bank of Industry and several other of such development banks that if we all tap into, we do. But one thing is missing, and that is that thing I said, take control, right? Our businessmen should see how to pull themselves together and do business plan, because nobody gives you money because they like your face. They give you money because you have convinced them this is the way to go.
It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. Of course, a very, very insightful one we've had this morning. Very soon I will be throwing the lines open. We've been speaking with Sir Mark Atasie. He's been speaking on how we can grow SMEs in Nigeria, especially Abia State. You know, he has a very rich profile when it comes to critical thinking and also consulting for state governments and organizations, and thereby increasing their IGR. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll continue the conversation, and I'll definitely throw the lines open. And I would like to get to know from you, hear from you what you've done in person, not as a company now, in person, to assist entrepreneurs in Abia State. Very important. It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM.
Guy, if I see 10K a wolf like this, holiday chillings don't settle.
On top 10K?
See you! With that 10K, I go get router with up to 240 gigabyte extra in the Airtel all-time mega offer.
You don't mean it?
For real, even with 5K, you'll get a MiFi with up to 125 gigabyte extra. But you have to hurry while offer lasts.
Mean everyone can own a device this season.
You get it!
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Alright, thank you very much for staying tuned. Still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. Special edition, of course, extended version of the program. We started at 9 a.m. with Ginika on the other side, and of course, this is the last lap of the program. We've been speaking with the Chief Executive Officer of NetZone, an emerging market managing consulting and enterprise development company that has consulted for several companies in Nigeria and also state government like Abia and also Anambra State, and of course witnessing a turnaround in their ideas. I understand that it was when you came in that we had, I think, a multiple of 4 when you came in right here in Abia State to advise. I know you've been advising economically, advising Abia State government. I went through your profile, and at some point I got to know that when you came in, we had an increase in our IGR. How did you get that? How did you manage that feat?
Okay, thank you very much. I think when I was born, my mom bought a tray called "Written Knowledge is Power."
Okay.
My view is that you don't become an expert in a second. So I've taken my time. We were blessed with my history by the time I entered Abia. I did IGR consulting for Enugu State in the 2000s, right?
And I think that was when Enugu had a turnaround also in the IGR.
Enugu made progress.
Enugu made progress.
So we did that. We then entered Anambra in 2014, a year before coming into Abia. So I had knowledge of how these things work. IGR is now, in my opinion, and I think people are beginning to, try to latch into this. I think it's 7 items, which we call lead SEMs, right?
Okay.
Law. If you don't understand the law, you can't implement IGR, right? If the law is wrong, you can't implement IGR. And I will tell you what has happened in Abia, in the area of law, that has helped us to grow IGR. Enumeration. You can't collect money from someone you don't know. And the average person doesn't want to be known. He wants to dash the money to someone who will share half of it with him, and then state gets nothing. So we must enumerate and know who you are, your shop, the location, your identity, and so on and so forth. We must have a way of assessing you in line with the law. Because if we don't assess you, you may pay too high and be upset, or pay too low and the state gets nothing. That is LEA, right?
Okay.
You must have a way of distributing the demand notices, because by law, if you haven't sent the demand notice, you really can't sue me to court. And the average person doesn't want to pay a dime. That's the lead. You must have a way of collecting your money. Very difficult. People say technology. It's not that easy. I'll give you an example. I was with someone on Zoom last night who said, look, in one other state, the artisans use their phones to make payment. Remember that each time you pay, you are charged 52 naira, isn't it?
By the bank.
So you have added 52 naira to the cost of that transaction. Each time you pay, you will pay something, an SMS charge. So collections must be cost effective and must be easy. That is C. Then the other is enforcement. Nobody wants to pay tax, so not even you, except if God enters your mind.
It's compulsory for me here.
So you find that the E, which is enforcement, you need to find a way to do it. The traditional thing that the people you send to enforce go there and collect the money, put in their pocket, and walk away. Isn't it?
We call it flying revenue in Abia.
Both flying and non-flying. Even the ones to the house of somebody, they go there, settle with the man, tell them this is Abia. This is Abia, isn't it? And then they walk away. Let me tell you this. I met a very big man in Abia Life. I won't mention his name, in Oka, when we went for the transition committee meeting last weekend. And he ran into myself and a lawyer for one of the banks. The lawyer was discussing with me on how to make sure that their bank that was locked is opened. And the man said, Abia, do you collect tax? So I took him through what you have asked me to answer now. And he said, nah, go and collect our money. He was shocked, and I'm happy that
there is an increase. So
I'm going to give you I'm going to give you the story. So essentially, we've moved from 500 million naira a month to an average of 1.1 to 1.9 billion every month, right? In a period that you had COVID lockdown, you had stay at home for various things and all that. So we're making progress. We have grown what you call flying revenue for motor vehicles from 300,000 naira a day to 5 million naira a day. That is half of what we think we should collect, right? We use technology, we use enforcement to do it. So we have devised a technology called e-ticket technology. That e-ticket means that to buy a ticket is tied to your number plate. So you cannot show me paper and say I've bought. We don't want to see that. We will use the cell phone and check your number plate. Did you buy a ticket today? But why are the boys that we have sent out to go and check not stealing the money? Because they make more money depending on how much enters government account. So the individual wants to pay. He either dashes you the money as an enforcer and all that. And we have different layers of enforcement monitoring. So if one person, you give money to one person, there's another person waiting in front who will also take his phone, check. So if you have dashed one man money, you may end up dashing 300 naira when you should be paying 150 naira or 200 naira a day. So we have understood what it takes to be able to get flying revenue to Abia, and it's working. So knowledge is what? Power. And we are using technology to support it, and we're using a lot of integrity, because you need people that are ready to support you. So heaven has helped us. In each area we found someone that walk up to us and say, I know what the problems are, and once you tell me the problem, I think I'll be able to give you an answer. I'm blessed with that kind of, and we are doing well. The BRR people are beginning to work like the private sector. You find them here on Mondays, you find them here on Saturdays. We work on the phone. So we are creating an environment where the civil service skills and the private sector skills. In fact, that's what changed. Because I think 2 years ago, governor said to me, "You've been here with me for 5 years now. I agree with all your ideas. But Mark, go and sit there. Go and work there now. I want to see you make this work. Take anybody you want. You want to get people in private sector, bring them in. I will sign. Go." And so that changed, right? So we have private sector competence, private sector hunger, private sector behavior and experience working in consonance with the civil servants that understand the rudiments of IGR, plus the technologies. We are bringing new tech. We have a USSD function now, I think it's star 8014 star 99, the only state where if you want to check if you have made a payment in areas of onboarded, right, you just dial it. If you want to check how much you're owing, you just dial it. So we have brand new technologies. If I bring a demand notice to your house, I cannot lie to BIR because the demand notice management application will take a coordinate that says I actually went to that house on that day. So we are using modern technology and modern discipline and a lot of knowledge we've gotten from various other states to enable us move our IGF. We've done 1 point something billion. We're going to do 2 point something very soon.
Oh, that's the target. There's a vision. Like
the governor's target is 5 billion for us, but we will move as we build out capacity.
So much has been learned today on the program, the platform this morning. Let me get to hear from the listener on the platform. 0808 182 6949 0811 605 2949. You can also drop messages on 0906 510 8289. The platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. We've been speaking with a technocrat. Permit me to use that word. Yeah,
yes.
All right. We've been speaking with a technocrat, of course, looking at the SME in Nigeria, and of course using Abia State as a case study. So much has been achieved in SME right here in Abia State, and of course Abia is a case study. Of course, if you can implement and use the blueprint right here in Nigeria, this guy should be the starting point. You can join in the conversation. You can also drop your messages on our Facebook page, facebook.com/flow949fm. We're live on Facebook. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Yeah, good morning, Michael Oni.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to your guests in the studio.
Yes, go on, please.
Yeah, my name is Owaku Debere, and I'm presenting from Maroc and the LGS.
All right,
yes.
Owaku.
SME development in Abia. Being honest with you, I believe Abia State government has really been doing well. Let us not forget that Abia has won this particular SME stuff. Abuja at the point, the vice president has been here to commission a lot of things that has to do with SME. And I really want to give kudos to the governor who has been able to achieve this case. To make sure that most Africans today in Aba have begun to understand what it is to be an entrepreneur. And at the same time, I want to appreciate the government of Abia State by putting a very wonderful effort by establishing SME bank in Abia. Do not forget, before Governor Bazo, Bank of Industry left Abia State, but the person that was the Bank of Industry came back, helping the industrialists in Aba. I give him kudos. Sir, please, I want to ask you a question. Some people
quickly, you have just 30 seconds. Quickly.
Multiple taxation. How do you go about multiple taxation? Because one thing is to give someone what the person is meant to pay. Another thing is to make it higher than what the person is ought to pay. Ought to pay. And so doing, it will be a problem. Please, sir.
The issue of multiple taxation. He's going to address that. Let's get more reactions on the phone lines. Don't forget, you can drop your messages on our Facebook page and also the SMS line. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, my economic expert in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. I still remember Mr. Prince will struggle for me.
All right.
My brother, I'm very grateful on the lecture and experience you have given us as regards SME. My question is this: how do you have all intellectuals like you people? Somebody like Okonji Wala, somebody like Emenano, one of the SMEs ministers, you there in the studio. I think what Abia has all it takes. But to me, as a person and observer of what goes on in Abia State, it seems outsiders benefit a lot from you. These ingenious people like you than Abia itself. My question goes to you, sir. What can you do so as to make your rich experience, be affected to entire Abians, like in Aba, in Aba. Aba alone, if Aba is being well financed, I believe Aba can take care of salaries of Abia State entirely. What can you do so as to enhance your experience to Aba in particular? That's my thing. May God bless you, my brother.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prince Will. Keep those calls coming. 0808 182 6949 0811 605 2949. Favor from Umahia says, please do well to bring the guest back on radio. I think we've got to learn more from him. So Mark Atasie, God bless you. That's coming from Favor. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Michael, I'm Mr. Prince Will. Calling from Umahia area.
You're welcome, Mr. Prince.
And we are staying at Mechanic Village. And these people, I had your guest today. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Emeka.
Prince Will.
All right, Prince
Please,
Will.
sir, you talk about SMEs, and we as traders, so I rely on Mechanic Village, and we are trading and also hoping so that you people can. We are looking for where to lend money. One, because some of us who are in a trade area that doesn't have much to offer. So there are things that you can come, but in actual sense, that SMC bank you are talking about, and I believe is it here in Omaya or is it in Aba?
Okay, he's going to respond to that. I'm aware that, yes, he's going to respond to that. I'm aware that it's in Ababo. He will respond to that. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Michael Noni. Good morning.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, the guest in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Pastor Ifan Emmanuel. I'm calling from Baoshi, Sierra.
All right, Pastor.
I want to commend the government for the SME, approach to the SME that are really, giving a great achievement, the SME. I also want to commend the guest in the studio for his effort to work out formula that has brought increase in the IGR. But I want to ask, why is it that in areas of SNP and the increment in IGR, these funds have not been prudently managed by the state government? The citizenry are suffering. Why is this so? God bless you.
All right, Pastor. Thank you very much for that question. And I'm going to add this, what you've done as a person, because we have just less than 8 minutes to wrap up the program this morning. So what you've done as a person to assist entrepreneurs in Abia State, just before we wrap up this morning, Sir Mark.
Okay, so I should start with that?
Yes, you can start with that, then we run through the answers for the listener.
Okay, so thank you everybody who has called in. I am a corporate man, so anything I do is usually corporate. I won't even be able to manage individual interactions to help people. So I create platforms that will support many people at the same time. Remember that unit cost I talked about. So every second I want to be able to influence thousands of people and not one man at a time. Having said that, as a person, we have a foundation called Tina Atasie Foundation, Tina Mark Atasie Foundation. Okay, because the Atasie is a massive family, and we do support lots of people, youth, businessmen, women, and so on and so forth. Not only in our states, even in Anambra, we support widows there in Anambra. and so because she's from Anambra. So we have structures that we use to support people. But as an individual, I do my best to make sure that people can start their business and can do. I fund people's businesses, individually. But I rather be a corporate man so that one idea and one initiative will affect many more people. I do hope that addresses that question. Okay, so let's go back to the other very substantive questions. Owakwe, the two principals, and pastor. And then the other person that... so I'll take the ones on taxation together. So I don't go, based on the person who asked.
Okay, let's start with the Owakwe Chidebere.
So Owakwe asked on taxation, multiple taxation. Somebody else asked on prudent use of the money.
Yes.
And that person said, why are we not able to do the same thing in Abia? Sorry, asked another question on, I think, taxation.
Yeah.
So these are the two.
Okay.
These are the two. I added one myself, yes. Get IGR thing going. He said, what can I do to help make things happen? So I'll take those first. Okay. Abia, remember I talked about lead SEMs, lead law. Abia has devised a new law called Consolidated Revenue Law Codification 2020. Governor signed it in August 2020 and it's taking effect. Okay. In Abia, every ministry, department, agency, and so on and so forth is expected to work with BRR so that BRR can do collections for them. The money belongs to the ministry. That was an erroneous thing. People thought the money belongs to BRR. Has no money. BRR is just a specialized entity for collection, just like Ministry of Works is a specialized entity for building roads. Ministry of Housing is so BRR is the engine for going out to collect taxes, levies, and so on. Now, that is one way of saying, because we are the center, we will not allow multiple ministries to charge multiply. The second is, we now do what is called consolidated demand notice. It becomes obvious that one man is going to pay for a particular item 10 times, and that won't happen anymore. So we, as a people, as a government, the government has come up with a law, BRR has come up with a practice, some technologies that will stop multiple taxation. We are publishing the call center number of BRR. Each time you sense you have a challenge with any item you think is multiple taxation, please bring it on. Call that call center or go to an office of BRR. And the other point here is that anybody who is collecting money on the road is actually not entitled to doing that, except he is wearing BRR coat. And if he's not wearing it, please call the call center. We have police all over now to effect arrest of anybody committing a revenue crime. So the whole area of multiple taxation, we are working very hard. There are people that's their job. They just want to collect money from people, right? So they tell you go and pay for bucket. Why are you paying for bucket? You need to have a bucket in your car as a commercial vehicle. So we are coming up with brand new laws, and we will not laws, please, pronouncements that we are publishing. We're going to go on National Daily, one. We're going to all social media handles we know, and so on, to publish these so that people know that when you enter there, it's a friendly state. We're not harassing anybody. We're not asking you to pay anything that is not in the law, and you will never experience multiple or double taxation anymore. Anyone who does it, please report to us and we'll arrest. I think the second related to taxation is, you say now money is coming in, so you clap for us, but prudently managed. You know, the truth is, any good thing is money that is making it happen. You may not know that 1 kilometer of road costs between 150 million and 300 million, depending on the terrain, right? You may not know that all the traders in the whole of Abia paid 36 million naira to government in 2019. Paid, I think the next one was 72 million naira in 2020, and last year nearly $500 million. So because of our intervention, they are now beginning to pay. But that's not enough. 500 million from them cannot build the road leading to their places. But it's only people that pay the money they used to be run, the state is run with. That's how the world has been forever. So we are beginning to grow. We haven't grown enough. If I use GDP to taxation for developed world, for Lagos State, we should be able to collect 5 billion in Abia.
Maybe more effort should be put into the area of sensitization, that it is needed. You are expected to pay your tax. That's another angle I believe the government should emphasize on.
Michael, I left the office and went to the market. I went to Ahiohoro and spoke to them, and the reaction was, why are they here? The average Abia person by 2019 did not know that not paying tax is a crime. It's actually a crime, punishable by the state, because we should all hate the person, right? I ask everybody, can you be a serious member of a church if you don't pay your church dues? Church, right? Any association. So it is in a state. We have elected somebody and we've told him, go and run the state for us. We must give him the resources. And anybody not giving the resources is a saboteur to the progress of the state, because you need money to make progress happen. Go and read the governor's blueprint. The problem is not ideas. It is the funds to make things happen. And I think we should be able to do that going
I want to really thank you very much for your time this morning. Of course, the conversation actually led to spurring up our critical thinking, and I want to also encourage you, the listener, to go watch the video again on our Facebook page and also YouTube page. We have Flow FM TV on YouTube, and also Facebook is Flow 949 FM on Facebook. So I'm Mark Atasie. Thank you very much for joining us this morning on the platform on Flow FM.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, listeners.
We hope to have more of you, anyways, there to speak more on economy, business, just to talk about that area. And how you switched from microbiology is funny to me, because I was once a microbiologist like you, so anyways, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Many thanks to the producer, Samson Eze, and the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook page as Chinedu and Stanley. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Stay out of trouble. My name is Michael Oni.